Good morning, JKs and SKs, and welcome to our music class this week. This would be May 14th music class. I hope you've had some time to enjoy the weather. We've had a little more sunshine. Maybe it was all those songs we were singing the last couple of weeks about the sunshine. The other thing I hope you will continue doing is listening to Doot Doo Wop Cooperation Hop. Now, I had a student from your class who actually sent me a video of them singing and doing the action, and actually including one of their family members. And I really enjoyed that. So if you want to send me a video of your singing the song and acting out some of the actions, that would be great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Remember, the actions are doop, do wop, do the cooperation hop. Once you start, you never want to stop. Jump right in, so you jump forward. Don't be left out, because friends, and point to the friends on one hand, helping friends is what it's all about. Then get ready to step back as you go. Shooby dooby 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 doo wop. Do the cooperation hop and step forward, okay? So keep working on that. Have some fun with that. Now, the other thing I'd like to do this morning is to review our alphabet song. And then I have a new song to teach you today. Now, remember the 7 letters of the music alphabet? Yell them out really loud. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that's it. The 7 letters of the music alphabet. Now, we talk about them being the names of the keys on the piano, but on the ukulele, we would have, you have the same notes that can go up there, okay? So all the instruments use the same 7 letters. So when we talk about piano keys, we're actually referring to the piano, but in addition, other instruments, okay? So let's try singing it. Make sure that you're sitting nice and tall. You want your body nice and straight, okay? Because it sounds much better if you're standing nice and tall. Make sure that you open your mouth when you sing. Sometimes it's good to do this in front of a mirror, and then you can watch your face, okay? So you open your mouth when you sing, and sing from your diaphragm, okay? Not from your throat, kind of like from where your belly is, okay? So that's where your diaphragm is. Ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are the letters of the piano keys. Only 7 letters get in the music alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are the name of the piano keys. Good job, and I hope you were singing nice and loud for that. How many of you have ever seen a railroad or ridden on a train? So the railroad was built many, many years ago, and actually was built to go all across the country, all across Canada, and it also goes all down through the States and up north and all over the place. So the railway was one of the earliest ways that people could get where they wanted to go without having to go on horseback. So the people who were hired to work on the railroad had quite a hard job. And so each morning they'd get up very early, because remember, they didn't have all the electricity to build, so they had to use daylight. So as soon as it was light out, they would get out and they would begin to work on the railroad all day long. And they would be hammering down these great big spikes in the ties of the road that were built. And then on those, the train would ride. So here's a picture of a train, or a wooden train that I had for one of my kids. And we had them built. And behind the train would come many, many cars, they would be called. And they would attach them. Oh, they could have 50, 100. It could be extremely long. Some would be very large, and some would be much smaller behind them. So they would be working on the railroad all day long. And sometimes they would have a name for the actual rail cars. And the one at the very beginning would have the horn, toot, toot, to let people know when it was getting closer so that they could make sure and get off the railroad. So these people might have sang this song to keep themselves encouraged after working all day long. I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. I'm sure that they were doing it also so they could have some money to feed their families. Don't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morning. Don't you hear the foreman? The foreman would have been the guy who was in charge of the crew, shouting, "Dinah, blow your horn." Okay, and then they would know it was time to get working. I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Don't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn. Don't you hear the foreman shouting, "Dinah, won't you blow?" So the foreman would be super loud, calling them to come work together. So you could do some actions with that. You could do like a train and do some actions as you sing that song. Now let's pick up where we left off with Pilgrim, who we're now calling Christian Pilgrim. So we'll just review some of the rhythms. We're not actually adding a new rhythm today to our story. Okay, I might move this back a little bit so you'll be able to see that. All right. We'll quickly review. Pilgrim left the city of destruction, and Pilgrim, now called Christian, was told by evangelist, that he could make it to the celestial city. But what he needed to do was go through the gate of decision. And just as he was knocking on the door, Mr. Goodwill grabbed him, brought him in. And we last left off where Mr. Goodwill had said, "This is wonderful. I'm so excited, Pilgrim, that you have become Christian Pilgrim. And now you're ready to continue your journey to the celestial city." Remember, he said the journey would be very long for some, but very short for others. But he said, on your way, make sure that you stop at the Palace Beautiful, because they have something very specific for you there. So Pilgrim began walking in, and remember, he'd lost his backpack, or his burden was gone, and so he was so much freer that he made great time. And as he was getting closer to the Palace Beautiful, he was thinking, you know what? It's still daylight. I could keep going and make it onto the celestial city. I maybe don't need to stop. But then he was reminded by Mr. Goodwill that there was something very special waiting for him. So he walked up to the Palace Beautiful and he knocked on the front door. The door opened and there was a gentleman there. "What can I do for you?" the gentleman asked. "Oh, Christian Pilgrim said, I'm to stop here. Mr. Goodwill sent me that I needed to stop here, and there was something there especially for me, and I can't wait to see it." "Well, come in." And when he went into the Palace Beautiful, Christian Pilgrim was met by many wonderful people. In fact, these must have been the people who were singing the most beautiful music. And they began to ask him about his journey. You see, they wanted to make sure that Christian Pilgrim had gone through the gate of decision, and there he'd asked to have his burden taken away. They wanted to make sure that he had come to know about the good King's son, Jesus, and that he had asked for forgiveness. Well, Pilgrim was so excited, and he told them the whole story. And then they said, "You must be very, very hungry." Pilgrim Christian thought for a minute. "In fact, I am starved." And so they brought him into a place where they set him down to a wonderful table, and a wonderful meal. Well, the whole time he was eating, Christian Pilgrim was thinking, I am really enjoying being here, but what is it they have for me? It must be after dinner. And then after dinner, they said, well, let's go now. We're going to take you down to a room. This must be it, thought Christian Pilgrim. But when they took him to the room, it was actually a room with a bed. Oh, Pilgrim thought, I cannot fall asleep. I am so excited about what I'm going to receive. But they said, you need to rest. You need to rest. And so Pilgrim put his head on the pillow, and he couldn't believe it. Almost instantly, he fell asleep. When you lie down, you shall not be afraid. You shall lie down, and your sleep will be sweet. And this is what this big plaque on the wall was. And Pilgrim slept. He had never slept so well in his entire life. Well, the next morning he woke up. Oh, maybe I get what I was wanting now. Oh, it must be this morning. And they came and they got him and they fed him again, which of course he needed his strength to continue on his journey. And then they said, Christian Pilgrim, come down. We have some very special things for you. This journey you're going to continue on is not always going to be easy. So we want to make sure that you have the proper armor. And they took him to the room called the armory. And there they gave him the belt. And there they gave him a breastplate that he could wear on the front. And there they gave him some shoes. And they gave him a shield. And they gave him a helmet, and they gave him a sword. The sword was the most important thing. It was like his Bible. His sword was the word of truth. And then they sent him on his way. But before they left, they said something very important. Now, Christian Pilgrim, lean forward. There's something we have to tell you. And you must never, ever forget this. 2 words. You must watch and pray. Can you remember those 2 things? Say them with me. Christian Pilgrim, you must watch and pray. Oh, I will, said Christian Pilgrim. And off he went. Remember, watch and pray. Next time we'll get together and find out what Christian Pilgrim does on the beginning of his journey.